Well, welcome, Kim. I am so thrilled to have you on my podcast. I actually met you through Instagram, and it was sort of, I would say, serendipitous or kismet, whatever you want to call it, because that same day that I ran across your profile, I had just interviewed Dr. Manas Chrysopoulos, who is a breast surgeon out of San Antonio, Texas, and the developer of the free app, the Breast Advocate app, and you have partnered with them. And I was like, I need to talk to this lady because I'm all about making sure that we get all the information out to newly diagnosed breast cancer patients and even survivors who've been going through the journey. So I wanted to reach out to you, find out your story. So welcome. Thank you for being here. How are you?
I'm excellent. Thank you for having me. Good morning. I'm excited to be here. As you know, Empower You, we're on a mission to bring yoga and meditation to as many people who are living with cancer as we can. And so I appreciate the opportunity to talk with you this morning.
Fantastic. Well, speaking of yoga, I just want to let you know that I've done yoga in the past and I like it. It was difficult for me to really concentrate and I never really stuck with it. And
Yep.
I think that there's a reason for that. I think that, fast forward, me being a breast cancer survivor, I needed to incorporate certain therapies into my life. And I have been doing yoga now for the past 3 weeks at a place right up the street from me that
Yeah.
has helped me tremendously. It is a
Mm.
completely different experience for me. So
Mhm.
I'm curious, what is it about yoga and meditation that are especially good for people who are living with cancer? Like, how did you get here?
Right, exactly. So I've been a cancer researcher for almost 20 years. I've been working in developing new treatments, new diagnostics, the whole allopathic side of helping patients, beat the physical part of their disease. But my mom received her own really challenging terminal health diagnosis. And during that time, I was just overwhelmed with anxiety. And so I turned into my personal yoga and meditation practice. And I found tremendous relief. And it was through that process that I realized my dedication to patients is far more than just treatments and diagnostics. I want to help patients in a more holistic way, mentally, emotionally, with just all of the hard parts that come with living with cancer. And so I developed Empower You. We bring a lot of resources to help make meditation and yoga easy for patients. You're not alone in thinking that it's difficult and not, sticking with it. I think that's very, very common. But the benefits are so great. They help with sleep, they help with strength and flexibility. One of the most important factors is the lymphatic system. Our lymphatic system, the lymph tissue, which helps detoxify our bodies and build our immune system, it only works when we move, right? When we move, our lymph tissue moves. And so yoga is just, it's a whole body system, a whole body process that benefits patients in so many ways.
I love that. I will say that, well, I had lymph nodes removed, so I was told that I needed to make sure that I'm moving and
Yep.
that I have to wear these sleeves and I can't do this, I can't do that. But moving has been
Yes.
very helpful for me. My body has been doing things I have not done in such a long time. And I had two major surgeries, not only the bilateral mastectomy and
Mm.
reconstruction, but also I had thoracic surgery literally 5 weeks later because they
Wow.
found another tumor in my thoracic cavity right next to my heart. So they had to pull that out. So
Wow.
I have really, my body has gone through some craziness this year. And so
Yeah.
moving my body, doing these exercises and really incorporating that yoga in has been incredibly helpful. So
Yeah.
this is really great information. And I think some people just think about the physical. I have cancer. I needed to get it out of my body. And how do I do that? And they're not sometimes don't realize that incorporating these other therapies like meditation and yoga can really, really dramatically help with their journey.
Yeah.
So that's so wonderful. So what if someone has been diagnosed with cancer and they have never done yoga before? Is it safe for them to start now?
Yeah. Yeah. So the number one question I'm asked in this journey that I'm on is, now that I have cancer, is yoga safe for me? And I think it's a really valid concern. You know, you're in uncharted waters as you're navigating the challenges of cancer. And so I would say fundamentally, yes. I mean, obviously you need to get approval from your doctor for physical activity, but yoga it's so wonderful because it can be as gentle or as challenging as you want it to be. So I would say to the person who is struggling to keep doing it or who is just curious, start with 5 minutes a day, right? It's just a simple inhale as you come up, exhale as you go down, right? Work in a gentle twist. Set your timer for 5 minutes and just move your body, breathing slowly and calmly. You're doing yoga. That's what it is. It's safe. Actually, the American Cancer Society has a Say Yes to Yoga campaign. It's a physical activity that they endorse. It's um, it's a super safe movement. Now, a super safe exercise. Now, that being said, there are some things that you might want to pay attention to. If you're somebody who has cancer that's metastasized to your spine, or you're living with a port or things like that, I really encourage you to work with somebody who's trained in yoga for cancer, right? Because there are ways that we can modify the poses to make them more comfortable and to make them more safe. So I would say anybody who's living with cancer, who's thinking about it, do some research, see if there's somebody local in your area, or find resources online. We offer a ton of free resources we can offer, but it's very safe and it's so effective. One thing I wanted to mention in the last question that I forgot is bone health. So many types of cancer treatments and some types of diagnoses impact the health of your bone, right? It makes them weaker. And yoga is considered to be a weight bearing exercise. So some of the poses on your hands and knees, you're putting weight bearing exercise gently on your arms, on your hips, on your spine. And so it's a gentle way to help strengthen your bones, which I think is really, really important.
That's a great point. I actually went to my gynecologist after I became cancer free and they did a bone density
Hmm.
test and did all these tests and things like that. I feel like I'm okay, but I still have a port, so I didn't even know that would affect it. I
Yeah.
actually am supposed to get mine out next
Nice.
month,
Yeah.
actually.
Good.
Yeah, I it's interesting because I never knew this before, but I was told that the breathing,
Hmm.
you're doing yoga.
Yes,
I didn't
exactly.
realize that. I
Exactly.
thought, "Oh, you have to do all these things,"
Right.
right?
Nope. That's exactly right. Yep. So the difference between yoga and just general stretching, one of the main differences is you're syncing your breath with your movement, right? You're learning how to calm your parasympathetic nervous system, which is another benefit of this practice. The more you can practice being calm, the easier it is to find those calm feelings during times of stress. And so it's just, inhaling as you come up, exhaling as you go down. We always want to try to inhale through your nose and exhale through your mouth, because in through your mouth and out through your mouth is very stimulating for your body. So in through your nose, out through your mouth, mindful consciousness of the breathing. And, Eckhart Tolle, who, is a famous author, talks about meditation can be as simple as one breath. One conscious breath in and out is a meditation, right? You don't have to sit for 20 minutes. You don't have to sweat it out in an hour-long yoga class for it to be effective. Even just a few minutes of mindful moving and breathing can just resettle and ground you and help, reset the course.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember sitting here on my couch right in the middle of cancer or chemo treatment,
Mhm.
just feeling awful. And
Yeah.
I purposely put the TV on just a meditation, like this, a
Yeah.
meditation like app or whatever,
Yeah.
and just listening to it for hours and following the breathing and
Yes.
things like that. And I
Yeah.
did find it very helpful during those dark, awful
Yes.
feeling times. So,
Right. Right.
yeah.
It's a
Um,
tool. You can put it in your toolbox. It's something you have to practice it, right? a lot of it's normal. I just want to say for your listeners, it's normal when you start doing this to have some resistance, right? When you try to relax or when you sit down to do yoga or meditate, it's almost like a vacuum in your, like, it invites all of the worries and thinking, and like it invites it in. And so you have to just practice a little bit every day, and just it gets easier and easier, and then you become great at it, and kind of it almost has an addictive property. You might set your timer for 5 minutes, you get to the end of your 5 minutes and you actually want more because it brings a peace that you're just not feeling in daily life. And so yeah, I think that's fantastic.
Yeah, it's like a muscle. You have
It
to
is.
flex it and figure it out. You know,
Yes.
I had interviewed one of my therapists from Australia, Eddie Eniver, and
Hmm.
he just helped me so much. I love that guy. Um, he told me, he says, we are in the business of busyness. So
Yes.
before I had cancer, I was so busy all the time. And we women, I know that most women that I know are multitaskers. We have a
Hmm.
million things going on. That was me.
Hmm.
And so for me to sit down and meditate
Right.
or do yoga was
Right.
incredibly difficult.
Yep.
And so kind of changing that whole
Hmm.
perspective has absolutely changed my life.
Hmm.
So now I'm like, I crave it. I want to go
Right.
every day. And then I have to
Yes.
take a day off because my body gets a little sore. But
Yeah.
well, this kind of goes into our next question that you sort of just talked about. It says, what do you tell people who are reluctant to start yoga because they don't feel like they are flexible enough or
Hmm.
strong enough to do
Hmm.
yoga?
Hmm.
And I know you just talked about, look, you don't have to do all of those things right now
Right.
anyway. It's just
Right.
about breathing. So what do you tell people?
Yeah. Yeah. I say adopt the attitude of not yet. Not yet. So I may not be flexible yet, but I'm going to work towards that, right? So start where you are, embrace where you are. And like I said, even if it's just set your timer for a minute of mindful breathing, that's a huge success, right? 5 minutes of movement. You want it to feel good. You want to leave wanting a little bit more. And just accept yourself where you are, knowing that every step you take is a positive step in the right direction. It doesn't have to be hard to be beneficial. I love telling my community, you don't have to be dressed from head to toe in athletic gear, sweating it out in an hour-long yoga class, right? Dim your lights, turn on some soft music and move for a little bit, or breathe, for a little bit, and just be happy with what you do that day. I think that's the best place to start.
Yeah, I will endorse exactly what you just said right now because one of the reasons I like where I go right now, and I'm sure that there are tons of other places that are like this, but I
Mhm.
don't feel like I'm in competition with anyone in there.
Right.
Everyone's at this different level. Everyone knows that I'm new to yoga in there, and there are
Yep.
other people who are new to yoga. So I don't feel like I have to do every move. Like, I don't feel like I have to stand on my head. No,
Right.
not yet, but maybe later. But I see other people in there standing on their heads, and I'm like, oh,
Right.
I wonder if I'm ever going to get to that point. But that's not the point. The point is that you do what you can do, and there are so many moves that I can do, and there's so many
Yes.
that I can't do. And I was just in a class yesterday where we were doing all of these moves that I had injured my back on, pumping up my paddle a couple of weeks ago. So I've been having to be really super careful. There were certain moves that I'm like, nope.
Yep.
And so what did I do? I laid flat on my back, had my palms up, and I had a bolster, and
Yep.
I just laid there until they were finished with those moves, and then I
Perfect.
picked up where I could pick up, and I did not
Perfect.
feel like I was in competition or anything, and no one even cares.
Perfect.
So, yeah.
Yes, that is so true. And I would say, even for a seasoned person who's done yoga for years and years, every day is different, right? I mean, there's times when I can totally relate to what you're saying. I don't feel in the groove with what they're doing. I might lay in child's pose till they're done or whatever. But I have a blog coming out soon that's actually called Not All Yoga is a Headstand. So it's funny that you
Okay.
mentioned that because people assume it has to be hard, right? That you have to stand on your head or, do this crazy thing. And you don't. You don't. Yoga is from here to here, right? It can be as gentle and easy or as difficult as you want it to be. I actually have a book in my office. It's called 21,000 Yoga Poses. That's literally how many yoga
Ooh.
poses there are, right?
Wow. I didn't even know headstands were even part of it. So I was like, wow. And I used to be able to do headstands and handstands when I was younger, but oh. And have you ever tried to do a cartwheel as an adult? Don't try it. It's hard. Okay. So what are your thoughts about doing yoga at home versus public studio? And I have my own personal thoughts on this, but I want to hear yours first.
Yeah, yeah. I think practice where you're most comfortable, right? So there's pros and cons, if we would say, to each. So if you practice at home, this became much more common with COVID, right? We were all exercising at home. I would say there's the advantages of, being in a place that you're very, very comfortable. I would say you can, practice at a time that's convenient for you, which is really, really great. What I hear from people in my community is they feel like they sort of lose the ambiance of going to the studio, right? There's something about walking into a yoga studio, the smell, the decor, the teacher, that does something to us, that helps us sort of just innately release and relax. And so if you're somebody who wants to practice at home, I think it's great. It's a very safe place to do it. You're not exposed to other people or, risk of infection, things like that. But create a space in your home that feels good, right? Have a dedicated place that you practice so that when your body goes there, it starts to know what's going to happen, and then that release and that relaxation will happen. And set up a place that that feels good. Maybe have a scent or a diffuser that's giving an aroma, or dim the lights, or this time of year, depending on where you are, practice outside in your yard or on your deck. That's also really wonderful. I think the most important thing is practicing in a way that makes you feel confident. So find a teacher that you like, either in person or online, or a program that you like, and that will help keep you wanting to come back.
Yeah. It's just there are so many different ways that you can incorporate it, and I really love the idea of both
Hmm.
at home or outside or in a studio, and only because during COVID my husband actually started to do yoga.
Mm,
He found this app,
nice.
and he actually made a room upstairs that is the yoga studio.
Nice.
Yeah. And so he's got all the things in there. So he literally goes upstairs and says, I'm going to go do some yoga. He goes
Nice.
in there and I can hear the lady's voice on the app and he does his yoga. I
Nice.
think that's a great idea. Now, when I had cancer, I was doing breathing and stretching things here at home, listening to
Mhm.
the meditation and so
Yeah.
forth.
Yeah.
For me, I thoroughly enjoy the community.
Yes.
And
Yep.
it's not all yoga studios are created equal. It's like
Yep.
anything, right? Not
Yep.
all teachers are created equal.
Yep.
Not all oncologists are created equal, and
Right.
surgeons or whatever. Not
Hmm.
all yoga instructors are created equal, or
Hmm.
studios.
Hmm.
Personally, I have luckily found a studio that these people are so down to earth and so
Hmm.
beautiful, and they
Hmm.
do incorporate the essential oils. They're very mindful of your mat space, and
Hmm.
they have wonderful movements, and the whole ambiance is beautiful, and the price is right. So that was
Right.
nice.
Right.
Um, so I really enjoy going there. It gets
Hmm.
me out of the house. It's
Yep.
literally right up the street. It's my 1 hour, just amazing everything.
Yep.
And even if I walked off the mat and the rest of the day I kind of had a crazy day or whatever, at least that 1 hour was good for me and my
Mhm,
healing. And I'm
mhm,
all about healing, because
mhm,
when you get a cancer diagnosis and you go through the treatment and then you are cancer free. So I was cancer free last December
mm,
after my surgery. some people really truly think that, okay, everything's over, get back to normal, get
Mm,
back to life. And that's
mm,
just, I found, not how it works. You are
mhm,
on a healing journey pretty much the rest of your life.
mhm,
And it's important to be able to be mindful of your mindfulness and your how you're moving your body and
mhm,
what it is that you're doing, what kind of things you're inviting into your life that might wreak havoc. And
mhm,
so I have to be really careful about how many things I put on my calendar every day. If I
mhm.
find myself getting stressed out, that's a red flag because I'm pretty
Good.
sure thoroughly convinced that my busyness and let's say trauma, grieving the death of my mother, my two
Mm,
father-in-laws, COVID, all these things,
mhm.
I am truly aware that I think that that's what led to my cancer. Can I
Sure.
prove it? No, but I
Yep,
really do believe that that's what happened.
yep,
So, post cancer, I'm very mindful about how many things I put on my calendar. I'm mindful about what I do with my body. So, this is just such a perfect therapy. And
mhm,
I'm just so grateful that there are people out there like you.
thank
Um,
you.
Most people struggle to meditate.
Mm,
Do you have any tips for making it easier for someone who is
mhm,
overwhelmed with cancer? Because
mhm.
it's pretty gosh darn
Yeah.
overwhelming.
Yep. Yep. I think a lot of people have this conception that meditation, you need to, sit cross-legged on the floor, like, you see the monks doing, and you sit for 30 minutes and it's just this bliss and peace. And I would say that is not the case for anybody, right? It is so hard, especially those of us who are busy, sort of type A personalities, where go, go, go. It is hard to sit and settle. So again, I would say start where you are. You don't have to sit to meditate. You can do a walking meditation. You know, you aren't ruminating on your problems while you're walking. You're noticing the flowers, you're noticing the trees, you're intentionally having it be a peaceful time. That's considered meditation. You mentioned listening to the guided meditations. I think that's a fantastic way for anybody to just, especially if you have a busy mind, because it gives you something to focus on, right? You can relax your body and then your mind can focus on somebody else's words. That is definitely a meditation. You can meditate while you're cooking or showering or washing the dishes. It's all about mindfulness in the breathing and just slowing down, right? So I would say be gentle on yourself. If you want to be somebody who sits quietly and meditates sort of in the traditional way that we see or we think of, start slow, right? A minute or two at a time and work up and celebrate those small successes because they make a big difference and they all add up. But if you're not somebody who wants to sit like that, don't discount meditation, right? There's a million different other ways to do it. Like I just mentioned, walking or guided meditations or, just mindfully doing the daily tasks slowly and deliberately, allowing your body to just settle into those tasks. Those are meditations as well. And then the breathing that we talked about, in through the nose, out through the mouth. Practice that. If you're stuck in traffic or sitting at a stoplight, a couple of breaths like that, it is so cleansing and relaxing, and you just have to keep at it. There's one other thing I wanted to mention. I do have a lot of patients who like to do yoga in bed. So back to your question about studio versus home, I have a lot of people who like to move in bed before their feet even hit the floor. So 5 to 10 minutes of, bringing your knees up to your chest or stretching your arms out in front of you when you're laying down in your comfortable, cozy spot is a great way to start the day before you're even up and at 'em. So that's another thing to think about.
It's interesting that you say that most people think, oh, you have to lay down and or you have to sit, with your legs crossed or whatever. I
Right.
remember years ago, I don't even know, it was probably in the 70s when my dad started meditating. And I
Mhm.
remember, oh, hearing things like, oh, so my dad's always used to doing new things. Like he'll
Mhm.
try things and
Mhm.
he'll be totally into it for a long time or a short time or whatever. But I
Yeah.
remember it's like, oh, shh. Dad's in his room meditating. We have to be quiet. I remember I remember going into his room one time and I'm like, he's laying down and I'm like, is he
Yeah.
sleeping or what is he doing? Like, what is he doing? So this was like way back in the 70s. So I always had it in my mind. It's like when you meditate, you have to lay down in your bed.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
but I will say that if you are meditating and breathe, if you're meditating and you're cooking or driving, just make sure you don't close your eyes.
Yes.
They're
Yes.
like,
That's
stop
really important.
and
Yep. Yep.
open your
That's really,
eyes.
yep. And I will say, if you want to meditate with your body being still, which is fantastic, you know, all of my meditation teachers will be upset to hear me say this. You don't have to be seated, back straight in this uncomfortable position. I think, especially if you're living with the challenges of cancer, you've got enough going on. Make your body comfortable, lay down, be in your recliner, be on the couch, wherever your body can relax is the best place to do it. And yeah, you may fall asleep, but that's fantastic, right? Everybody needs more sleep. So
Yes.
that's okay.
I definitely need more sleep. Sometimes I can sleep well, but but through the treatments, I think I've got this arthritis new cascading thing that happened is I can't I when I do fall asleep, I wake up a lot and I have to like force my hands open and close because it's so
Yeah.
sore. It's crazy.
Oh,
Um
interesting.
so I want to sort of wrap this up
Sure.
with a couple of things.
Okay.
Number one, how is it that you are involved with the Breast Advocate app? What can we find in that app?
hmm Right. So the Breast Advocate app is a new partnership with us. We are on a mission to bring yoga and meditation to as many people who are living with cancer as we can. I mean, there are so many people diagnosed every year. Treatments are getting better. So there's so many more people living with cancer. It's hard to get the messages out to those people. So we are partnering with as many groups who are already bringing helpful resources to patients as we can. So the Breast Advocate is a new partner for us, and they have so many resources for people who are living with cancer. There is, if you don't have the Breast Advocate app, get it, check it out. I'm sure there's something on there that can help you.
It,
Um,
it,
yeah, go ahead.
it's just so fascinating. I can't stay off of it. I'm going through the widgets. I'm going through all of the
Mm,
resources, all of the community in there in the comments. And it's
mhm.
just really amazing. I'm just thrilled that it's there.
Yeah, yeah. Another really great resource, I don't know if you're connected to yet, is Grit Health. Are you connected to Grit?
I don't, I don't
So
know.
so they
On
also
Instagram?
they're on Instagram, Facebook. Their webpage is just grithealth.com, and they are a
Okay.
really fantastic platform because they bring both the treatment side and the patient side. So they have a lot of advocacy. They do a ton of free things for patients. They have a fantastic community. So they help pair patients of a certain diagnosis with other patients of that diagnosis, just so you can help build community with the challenges that you're facing. So, in
Okay.
addition to the Breast Advocate, I would say Grit Health is definitely something else to check out.
Okay. Maybe we can put that in the show notes.
Sure.
So, yeah. So, speaking of show notes, there's a couple things I want to talk to you about. You, first of all, what are you offering? What
Mhm.
is it that you can offer my audience?
Yeah.
And what are some resources that we can put in the show notes? And how do
Yeah.
people reach you?
Yeah. Yeah. So we are on Instagram. Our handle is iam.empowered. And we're also on Facebook, Empowered Cancer Journey. Our website is empoweredcancerjourney.com. We offer a ton of free resources. We have free guided meditations. We have free yoga classes. All of our practitioners are trained in yoga for cancer. So everybody has special training. And in fact, most of our teachers are survivors themselves. So they've lived through it. We offer everything from, Jessica offers a really nice sort of bed to rise class series. We have chair yoga. We have more vigorous vinyasa for people who are a little further down the journey. We offer guided self massage. We have a ton of recipes, gluten-free recipes for people who are living a gluten-free life while they're battling cancer. We
Mhm.
have energy medicine, a lot of tutorials on energy medicine if you're interested in that. We have an art therapist who does some artwork. That's really fantastic. Tons of free resources. If you want a little bit more, we offer a beginner's yoga class, cancer safe yoga class to help you learn how to get started, to set up your own practice and learn some movements that you can do. We have a guided meditation series that is designed specifically for people who are living with the challenges of cancer. There are a ton of amazing apps out there for meditation. I know that for sure. This is a little bit unique because it's focused on specifically challenges associated with cancer. So yeah, check us out. We have a ton of free information and resources ready for you. And we'd love to offer your community a discount for any of our paid products.
Ooh, what's that discount? What does that entail?
So one of the challenges that I've had in launching this program is I feel like it is so hard to charge people for this type of service, right? That's why we offer so many free resources. For the things that are, a little bit more involved, we have a pay what you can model, and we're willing to offer your community a discount. Join us, get in there, learn how to move your body in the way that feels good. Or if you're not ready to do that yet, do some meditation, do the guided meditations. We have everything from like helping you sleep and gratitude and anxiety. Actually, that's our most popular meditation, is anxiety.
That's great. So will there be a link that they can just click on, and how does that'll be in the show notes?
Yeah, we can add it to the show notes. I will give you a coupon code that they can just add at checkout. And so it'll be
Fantastic.
test those breasts when we'll give a discount.
Oh, I love
checkout.
it. I love it. Just so you know, that name came from my husband. He actually named this, because when it all comes down to it, early detection is key.
Yes.
So
Yes.
test those breasts, right? Okay. Well, I just followed you on Facebook. I already follow you on Instagram, and I'm just so these courses. This might be a totally stupid question, but
That's a good question.
can people? So is this all just online?
Mm-hmm. It is.
I can
Yeah.
hear you. Sorry, my husband just walked in, and he knows I'm interviewing.
That's okay.
Let me ask that question again.
No worries.
This might be a stupid question, but are these all online
Mm-hmm.
courses, or do you also do things in person where you are?
Yeah. So I live in a really small town in Central Oregon. I think we have like 3,000 people in town. So I do not do in-person classes. Everything I
Okay.
offer is online. I am in the process of, and it's at your own pace, right? So the beginner's yoga class, it's a 4-week series, but you have access to it for much longer than that. So you can do it at your own pace. I've had some inquiries about doing online private sessions. So I'm going to set that up and get that going. I want to reach as many people as I can, and the only way really to do that is online. So that's what we offer at this point.
Okay. Perfect. I love it. Well, I mean, because the audience, they're all over the place, and so
Yes.
for them to have access is just really great.
Yep.
Well, I do want to point out to the audience that your little town in Central Oregon, I've been to, and it's beautiful. And you and I are videoing right now, and I see your ceiling. You have the same ceiling that I do. I'm sure people won't be able to see this unless I put the whole entire episode out there in video, but I do use little clips, so it's kind of cool that we're sort of in these mountain towns, and like it's almost like we're soul sisters of some
Yes,
sort. Like we're meant to connect, right?
we are,
Well,
for
Kim,
sure.
I really appreciate, number one, you having an interest in helping with holistic health and cancer patients. And I just think that what you're doing is incredible. And I'm excited because I might just go on there and do some stuff myself. And yeah, so to my audience, reach out and follow Kim on Instagram. And again, all of her socials and how to contact her will be in the show notes, and that discount code.
Yep.
Thank you for doing that.
Of course.
And is there anything else you would like to add before we wrap up?
Gosh, I would just say, start where you are and move your body. You can do it. We're all behind you. We have a huge supportive community, and yeah, just go for it. And thank you, Jamie, for all of the work that you're doing. I mean, this is fantastic. So the more people we can all reach and the community we can build together, it just makes us all stronger to work together.
Thank you. It is incredibly helpful. It's incredibly healing and gratifying that I get to reach and you get to reach all of the people that need it. So thank
Mm,
you, Kim.
mm.
And
Thank
to my
you.
audience, thank you. And to my audience, we will see you next time on the next episode of Test Those Breasts.
Awesome. Thank you.
Well, that
Was
was
that
fun.
okay?